I 32 male, am a software engineer, and until last week, I thought I was about to buy a future with my girlfriend of 3 years. To give you a quick snapshot of us, I drive a 10-year-old Honda, max out my 401k, and believe in living below my means. She works in PR, drives a leased luxury car she can barely afford, and is very concerned with how things look on Instagram. Despite the financial differences, I loved her. We had been talking about buying a house for 6 months, and since the rental market in our city is garbage, I decided to liquidate some early tech stocks to make it happen. The plan was crystal clear. I would put the down payment, $80,000, which is a huge chunk of my life savings, and we would split the mortgage 50-50ths. Both names on the deed, both names on the mortgage. We shook on it. We kissed on it. It was a plan. When we found the one, a Victorian that needed work but had good bones, things started getting specific. My girlfriend insisted we use her best friend from college as our real estate agent. She also pushed hard for us to use her uncle as the mortgage broker. I wanted to shop around, but she accused me of not trusting her family and gave me the cold shoulder until I caved. To keep the peace, I agreed. She volunteered to handle the admin side of things, since I was drowning in a product launch at work. She said she'd coordinate with the agent and lender, upload documents, and keep us on track. It sounded helpful, so I forwarded her my W-2S, bank statements, everything. For weeks, she gave me updates like, "Uncle says the underwriting is great," or "My friend got the sellers to fix the roof." I felt like we were a solid team. Then the red flags started popping up. I'd ask to be CC'd on emails. She'd forget. I asked for the login to the loan portal to check the numbers. She'd say the system was glitchy or her laptop was dead. 10 days before closing, I asked for the closing disclosure CD. Legally, borrowers get this 3 days before closing, but I wanted a preview. She waved me off, scrolling through TikTok, and said, "Don't worry about it. Uncle says we're clear to close. Just have the wire ready. You're being so controlling. Why do you always have to micromanage?" That word, micromanage, was her favorite weapon to shut me up, but this time it didn't work. Something felt off. The math wasn't mathing in my head. 2 days before closing, I decided to bypass her. I found an old automated email from the title company and called the escrow officer directly during my lunch break. I introduced myself as the buyer and asked to verify the final cash to close amount. The silence on the other end of the phone was deafening. The officer said, "I'm sorry, sir. I don't have you listed as a borrower or a buyer on this file." I stopped walking in the middle of the street. I told her I was providing the $80,000 down payment. She said, "I see the down payment listed, but the file is solely in the name of girlfriend. The purchase contract and loan application are single borrower. The funds are listed as a gift." A gift? She explained it was a draft of a gift letter pending signature that stated I was her boyfriend, giving her $80,000 with no expectation of repayment and no claim to property. I never signed a gift letter. I never agreed to a gift letter. I thanked the officer, asked her not to mention my call, and hung up. The pieces clicked. The admin help, the refusal to share logins, the insistence on using her friend and uncle. It was a setup. They structured the deal so she would own 100% of the house, and I would just be the bankroll. If we broke up, I'd have zero equity. I went home that night, and she was beaming. She told me her parents were coming to closing because they were so proud. I kept my face neutral and told her I'd bring a cashier's check to the closing instead of wiring the money because I didn't trust wires. She was annoyed but agreed. She had no idea I knew. The morning of the closing, the atmosphere was tense for me, but celebratory for everyone else. We met at the title company's office in a glass-wall conference room. Her parents were there, looking like royalty. Her dad slapped me on the back and made a joke about me finally making an honest woman out of her by buying a house together. I just smiled. Her friend, the agent, wouldn't meet my eyes. The uncle was on speakerphone. The escrow officer, the one I spoke to, brought in the stack of papers. My girlfriend started signing. Note, deed of trust, occupancy affidavit. I sat with my hands folded. Eventually, her dad asked, "Wait, why isn't my name?" signing anything. It's a joint mortgage, right? My girlfriend froze. She glanced at the agent, then lied to her dad. Oh, we decided it was better for the interest rate if it was just in my name. Uncle said it was the smartest move. My name is essentially an owner anyway. Essentially, I let her finish signing the loan docs. Then the officer pulled out the last sheet, the gift letter. And finally, the officer said, looking right at me, "We need the gift letter signed by the donor to verify the source of funds." My girlfriend turned to me with a fake, dazzling smile. "Just a formality, babe. Just says the money comes from you, so the bank is happy." I picked up the paper and read it out loud. I, my name, hereby certify that the funds given to girlfriend are a bona fide gift, no obligation to repay, no financial interest in the property. I dropped the paper on the table. "Interesting paperwork." I said, "I'm not signing that." The room went dead silent. My girlfriend's smile vanished. "What?" "I'm not signing a document that says I'm gifting you 80 grand. I'm not gifting you anything. This was supposed to be a joint purchase. That was the agreement." She turned red. "Babe, stop it. You're embarrassing me. We can add you to the title later. The loan is already approved this way. If you don't sign, we can't close." "We didn't talk about this," I said, keeping my voice steady. "You talked to your friend and your uncle. You deliberately excluded me. You want me to pay for the house, but you want to own it." Her mom jumped in, calling me petty and asking if I was going to ruin this over a piece of paper. I looked at the escrow officer and said, "I am not handing over the check. The deal is dead." I stood up. My girlfriend grabbed my arm, screaming that the sellers would sue and she'd lose her earnest money, $15,000. I told her that since she was the only one on the contract, that sounded like her problem. Her dad tried to intimidate me, saying I gave my word. I told him I never gave my word to be swindled. I looked at the agent and said, "You represent the buyer, but you colluded to keep a financier off the title while misleading me. I wonder what the licensing board thinks about fiduciary duty." She went pale. The uncle on the speakerphone hung up immediately. I walked out while my girlfriend screamed that she hated me. I drove straight back to my apartment where she lived rent-free, and started packing her bags. I put everything in garbage bags and set them in the hallway. I called my landlord, told him my guest was leaving, and paid the fee to have the locks rekeyed immediately. Since she wasn't on the lease and never paid bills, I was willing to risk the illegal eviction argument. I figured she wouldn't have the guts to call the cops, given the fraud she just attempted. When she showed up that night, banging on the door, I told her to leave or I'd call the police for a disturbance. She screamed that her parents had already given up their rental and they had nowhere to go. "Wait," I said through the door. "Why would your parents giving up their rental matter?" I didn't get an answer then, but I found out later. She had left her iPad behind in her rush. I guessed her passcode and checked her messages with her mom. The text thread was titled House Prep. "Mom, make sure my name doesn't see the final deed. Girlfriend, I know. Uncle said as long as he signs a gift letter. He has zero legal standing. Then we can move you and Dad into the in-law suite immediately. Mom, good. We need to be out of our place by the 1st. Are you sure he won't mind?" Girlfriend, it doesn't matter if he minds. It's my house. If he complains, I'll tell him to leave. He won't walk away from his equity. That was the kicker. The dream house was a retirement plan for her parents, funded by me. They were going to move in rent-free. And I would have been trapped paying a mortgage on a house I didn't own, living with people I couldn't stand. I decided to go nuclear. They sent me a lawyer's letter demanding I pay the $15,000 earnest money she lost, claiming promissory estoppel. I didn't hire a lawyer. I just replied with the screenshots of the text messages proving conspiracy to defraud me, a copy of the complaint I had just filed with the State Real Estate Commission against her agent friend, and the fraud report I filed with the NMLS against her uncle. I told the lawyer, "If you pursue this, I will forward these documents to the district attorney for review regarding attempted grand larceny." He ghosted me. The aftermath. The best friend agent was scrubbed from her brokerage's website a week later. She likely got fired to save the firm's skin. The uncle called me begging not to report him because he has kids, but I told him he should have thought of that before trying to help his niece steal my life savings. I blocked him. As for my ex and her parents, they ended up in a cheap extended stay motel because her parents had nowhere to go and she had blown all her savings on the lost earnest money and inspection fees. The family is apparently imploding. Her dad blames her. She blames the uncle, and they're all broke and miserable. She tried to charge $4,000 of furniture to my credit card a week later. It was saved in her Apple Pay, but I had already reported the card lost. I filed a police report for attempted credit card fraud just to have it on record. The detective paid her a visit, and she finally stopped harassing me. I still have my $80,000. I'm still in my apartment, and I learned a valuable lesson. Love is grand, but verify the paperwork. If someone calls you controlling for asking where your money is going, run.